Hello, and welcome to 5 Minute Math. Today we are looking at the readiness practice for 3.2D, comparing and ordering numbers. This is the advanced version. If you are interested in looking at the intermediate or proficient version for this resource or any other readiness practice, you can do so by clicking the link in the video description. So our advanced first problem is going to be thinking of a mystery number. Now our mystery number is between 8,027 and 38,001. So I'm going to draw a little number line here just so we can kind of keep these together. Let's make it go here. So 8,027, and it needs to be less than 38,001. And that means it's going to be 4 or 5 digits. So let's just go ahead and get the 5 digits all listed right there. So that's going to be my 10,000s place. This is my thousands place. I'm going to put a comma right there. This is my hundreds place, my tens, and my ones. All right, so I've kind of built out two different ways to track my number on a number line and with a place value chart. So next, the value of one of the digits is represented by 2 times 100. So it's going to be 2 in the hundreds place. That's locked in. So we can just leave that there. Next, it says the thousands digit is 100 times greater than the tens digit. Well, let's think about that. Let's just start with a random tens digit of, let's start a tens digit of 6. Okay, so if I had a tens digit of 6, that would be 60, right? So what is 100 times greater than 60? Then that would be what's in the thousands place, right? Well, if I multiply this by 100, look what I'm going to do. When we multiply by tens, hundreds, or thousands, we just add the number of zeros to the end because we're moving over places. Each zero represents a place in the place value chart that we're moving over. There's 2 zeros, which means we're going to add 2 zeros. That's moving over 2 places. So that ends up being 6,000. So that means I can go ahead and put a 6 right there. And that pattern holds true. If I have 7 right there, then that's going to be a 70. 2 places over, or 70 with 2 zeros is 7,000. So that's just a really strange way of saying the number or the digit that is in the tens place is going to match the digit that is in the hundred or the thousands place. So let's just go ahead and build this out. Now, what we're not going to include is 0, simply because 0 times 0 is not 0,000, right? It's still 0. So we're just going to include all those digits. So I've got options there, but they do have to match. And then it says the number is even. Okay, so I've got choices here. I can choose a 0 in this case, a 2, a 4, a 6, or an 8. I'm going to not select 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9. That's it. So I need to select 5 numbers here. Well, it needs to be larger than 8,000, and it needs to have a 2 in the hundreds place, right? So let's start with that. Let's start with the lowest number that we could choose. Okay, so I could choose, let's see, an 8,000, right? If I have an 8 in the thousands place, I need an 8 in the tens place, and then my lowest number could be that. So I could choose, and that would be like right here. Okay, I'm going to put that right here, 8,280. So I'm going to put that right there, and I'm going to list that as one of my options, and I'll just list it underneath here. I only need 5. There's going to be many options, but I'm just interested, what is the smallest, what is the largest number I can make? Okay. If I make 38,000, look what's going to happen. It has to be 38,200. That's going to go off my chart. So I can't do 38,000, but I can do 37,000. If I have a 7 in the thousands, I need a 7 in the tens, and then I need an 8 right there. So that's just the largest one I can make. So 37,278. So let's put that down here, and I'm going to put that a little bit lower as I'm going to put them in a line here. And then you don't really need to try to find the largest and the smallest. I was just interested to see what those were. Really, you just need 5 numbers that follow this. So what you can do is you could easily just choose a number. Let's just choose a number in the middle. Okay. So I'm going to choose 16,000. So if my thousands is 6, then my tens has to be a 6. But what I can do here, watch, I can do 16,260, and then I could just change the tens digit, and I'm good, or the ones digit, right? So I can do 60, 62, 64. And that works because they are all following the clues. Now they all happen to be really, really close. And so I'm just going to kind of draw a little arrow for these three and say they go right there. But there is more than one answer. There's more than 5 answers. And so that's why I say answers will vary. We just need to follow these clues that we see on the screen. The value of one of the digits is represented by 2 times 100. So we have a 2 in the hundreds place. The thousands digit matches the tens digit. It is even and then it's between those two bounds. And answers will vary. So let's go ahead and just put that down here. Answers may vary. All right, so number 2, we have a list of numbers. We need to find the difference between the second largest and the smallest city. Now, our standard just say we want to compare an order numbers 200,000. We're going above 100,000, but this is advanced, so we're going to use our same skills, and this is going to grow us as third graders. So we need to get these in first in order, and then I need to find the difference. That means subtract. So I'll put that right there. Difference is the answer to a subtraction problem, second largest and the smallest city. All right, so let me go ahead and just build my place value chart. It looks like we're going to 6 places here. So I've got my 100,000, my 10,000, my 1,000, 100, tens, and ones. And I just like that so I can name place values as I am discussing which one I'm looking at. So let's just do each of these in a different color. So we're going to start with Plano, simply because it's the top, not because it's the largest. All right, so Plano has 291,450. All right, so next, let's look at Garland. All right, so Garland, 242,523. I think that's going to be smaller because of that 4 in the 10,000s place. Let's look at Laredo. 258,306. Laredo looks larger than Garland because it's got a 5 in the thousands place. Lubbock, it's got 269,833. And then Irving, 253,000. Probably kind of near the middle, 561. All right, so what I want to do is I want to reorder these from, let's just go ahead and do least to greatest. Okay. You could do greatest to least. It doesn't really matter. As long as you get them in an order, then you can find the second largest and the smallest city. Okay. So we're looking always at the largest place value first. Everyone's got a 2 in the 100,000s place. So we're moving to the 10,000s. And really, it's not much of a choice because look at Garland right there. Garland's got the smallest number of the 10,000. So I'm going to put Garland as my least. So I already have one answer. Or the smallest city is going to be Garland. All right. Next, I've got 2 5s. Laredo and Irving has got a 5 in the 10,000. So I go to the next place. And my 3 is smaller than my 8. Right? So I'm done with Garland. So I'm now going to write Irving. And then I'm going to pick up this Laredo, 253, 258. All right, so now I'm going back to my 10,000s. I've only got Lubbock, 269, 291. We see Lubbock, 269 is going to be our second largest. That's the one we're needing right here. And just to go ahead and round it out, we have Plano as our largest. Now, we're not done yet. We need to subtract Garland and Lubbock. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So Garland is going to be 242,000. Now when I'm subtracting, let's go ahead and not put the comma. I don't want to think it's a 1 and include that. 523. And then I've got Lubbock, our second largest, right? 269. And then 833. All right, so we're just subtracting these two here. 0, that's a 1, that's a 3, that's a 7, that's a 2. There's no need to regroup at all. So we're going to just write this, and we'll put it in a box. We don't want it to be hard to find. What is our answer? 27,310. Now, for our third practice problem, we are comparing two numbers. It looks like they are both in the 10,000s, and we need to write a sentence using words. Okay, so first let's draw a place value chart so we can at least compare them. So I've got my thousands place, my hundreds place, my tens place, and my ones place. All right, so Oakdale, let's use that one first. Since that one comes first, I've got 9,807. We're not going to say 807. We're reserving the word and for when we deal with decimals starting in the 4th grade. Willow Creek, 9,087. So you can see that Oakdale is larger because it has an 8 in the hundreds place. They use the same digits, they just swap, right? So our changes are right here when we're swapping the 8 and the 0 and the tens and the hundreds place. But we don't want to simply compare with symbols. We need to compare with words. We have to write a sentence. Okay, so we can say the Oakdale branch is, and what are we going to say? Well, Oakdale is larger because it's got an 8 in the hundreds place, is greater or is larger than. We can say larger, we can say greater, either one of those works, than the, and then we'll put the Willow Creek branch. Now that's one way to do it. You might have written it another way, and if you did, that's fine. If you wanted to start with the Willow Creek branch, because it never said which way you wanted to go, you could say the Willow Creek branch is less than, or we can say smaller, and then we'll say the other branch, the Oakdale branch. You do not need both of these, you only need one of them, so I'm going to put a nice big or right here to let you know that you only need one of those two responses. So once again, if you are interested in looking at any of the other problem sets for 3.2D, the proficient or the intermediate, or any other problem set for any other standard, you can do so by using the link in the video description.